Many people argue I didn't say I freed 1,000 slaves and I wouldn't be that boastful because I was Harriet Tubman. Maybe that's true, but I don't know. I think I was smarter than they know. And I sure did see God do a lot for me and my people in one lifetime. Let me tell you all about the slaves I did free in one night at a special place, the Combahee River Raid. I freed more than the 70 to 90 slaves they say I got back to Canaan land. More's like 300 in the Underground Railroad, but not because I was trying to boast. I was hidden by the good old Lord. I was about one thing, and that was love and smarts. Even if they don't believe how many I freed, it's okay, because God knows. We had to use the Underground Railroad. Remember that railroad that's not a real railroad, but a hidden one, to get those folks to freedom. And by God's leading, same methods I used for the Underground Railroad, it sure did work. After I rescued my parents and my sister's children, I had more work to do. In fact, I had a lifetime of work to still do. I was the conductor of the Underground Railroad, remember the invisible railroad, for 8 years. And I can say what most conductors can't say. I never, ever, ever ran my train off the track, and I never lost a passenger. Against the wishes of even some in that good old army, the one led by Lincoln, the Union Colonel James Montgomery, he was on my side, and he asked me to lead a secret mission against our enemies, the Confederates, right here in the South. I had to go all the way down to the deep South from my home in Philadelphia, where I was healing people as a nurse and a Union spy. To South Carolina I went to do this mission, and I worked with slaves and freedom fighters to get this mission done. The slaves knew more about their masters and their plantations than anyone else. That was the master's mistake. It was God's love giving them those smarts and the knowledge that the masters they didn't know they had, because they didn't believe they were human. That day was history. You hear me? It was history making me and 150 black soldiers. They was called the U.S. 2nd South Carolina Volunteers. First time in history, we carried over 700 slaves out of slavery that night. Just like Moses, we gathered all the people and we told old Pharaoh, let my people go. We burned up those plantations while Pharaoh was sleeping. And the slaves all ran off the plantations in the water in the middle of the night. We saw God's love burst through that grave, dark, dark darkness of the South. This wise days calls me the Moses of my people. He split that Red Sea open and he led his people right to freedom. While they took all their master's stuff. That night we did the same. Babies and animals and mamas and daddas were all running into those boats, and it was such a joy. Just like when I first got free. Remember, I told you when I found that I was free, I had crossed that line, I looked at my hands to see if I was the same person, and there was such a glory over everything. The sun came through like gold through the trees and the fields, and it was like I was in heaven. It was God's love all over me. I know the feeling. I knew that feeling. Oh, it was such a joy to see their smiling faces. I was the only woman to ever lead a military operation in the Civil War. Then 100 of those escaped slaves from that one night joined the Union Army, and they became some of the first black soldiers and heroes. So that's some of what love could do. It makes you get up and help people. The good old Lord is your guide. No more shackles, no more sadness. We going on to Canaan land. We's free. Now, I want you children to do the same. Listen to the good old Lord's voice and find your way to Canaan land. But don't you forget to get your friends free too. God will show you how, and he will make you the way when your heart is in the right place. You can do it with two things, love and smarts. So let's keep going so we all see the promised land.